Back again for another video. So in today's topic, I won't necessarily be talking about men and women on this one. I'm going to talk a little bit about a different topic. So you guys have been seeing the stories about the Afghans being taken over by the Taliban again, right? This is not surprising. There are many people who feel very slighted by this, me included, but I seen it coming. So I fought in the Afghanistan war, and I met the people. I talked with the people. They're very nice people, to be honest with you. That's another reason why I see the issues that they have now being what they are. And I wouldn't say that it's necessarily because they're passive, but just because that's who they are as a people. They're not people who like a lot of conflict, but this surprisingly is what draws conflict to them. Because a lot of people over the history of Afghanistan, that area, have been trying to invade that country and do what they want with it. This is nothing new, but my thing is, why the American people feel like this was going to change, like the war was going to change these people. This is who they've been for hundreds of years, thousands of years. This is who they've been. They've been a people who have been invaded and conquered and taken over. Once again, this is because they aren't people who want to fight. I mean, sure, they have fought a few wars, but a lot of those people who started those wars and did all that stuff, they came from outside Afghanistan. A lot of those people, not every single last one of them, but a lot of those people, they came from other places. So you can't necessarily say that it's the Afghan people who started a lot of these wars. I mean, with the Taliban, a lot of them are from Pakistan. To my knowledge, from what our intel was telling us at the time, they had Afghan ties, of course, but a lot of those people, they aren't from Afghanistan originally. Some of them are, but a lot of them are not. This is why they can jump around as much as they can, because they're not really from there. They're just the faction, right? And it's so crazy. It's so crazy to see this stuff. Those people are going through a situation, definitely. I think the U.S. is very pompous in believing that we could go to another country, install our form of government, and it just take off. Really think about it. Throughout the history of the world, how many times has that actually worked versus not, right? This is something that I'm not a history buff, I've never been my thing. But as far as what I understand, trying to install a different form of government and a different form of politics into a country who has really never experienced that type of government or politics, is like a high rate for failure. It's almost like doing a transplant of a organ onto someone who doesn't have the same blood type. Like that's your chances of that actually working for you. It's so strange to watch this though. I think the U.S. not only fooled the U.S. people, the U.S. government. I think it not only fooled the U.S. people into believing that Afghan could be something different, but I'm starting to think that it fooled the Afghans into believing they could be something different. I mean, because look at the outcry. Look at the reactions. Look at what they're doing. Running to planes and trying to board on. Now, this probably isn't representative of majority of the country, to be honest with you. but that says something still. That says something still. That says that the U.S. occupation of Afghanistan had an effect on the people, so much so that they saw a different path of what they could potentially be. But the problem is, we've been there 20 years. So we've had a huge influence, but not a big influence, but we had a huge influence in recent times on what their culture was, and how they understood themselves to be as people. We've installed some of our Western ideologies into their country just by being present and occupying it in an authoritative manner. And that's kind of usually what happens with a lot of people when this happens, or a lot of countries when this happens. And for all the people who have fought in this war, me personally, like I said, I fought in the war before. I've been over there for an extended period of time. And I can't say that I feel slighted. I can't say that, but I feel some type of way about $1 trillion going to that. Even when I was there, like I said, the people are really nice. They're really nice people. But they ain't got no fight in them, man. They ain't got no fight in them. When we were training them up, you can see that they were just there for the check. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that they were welfare people, but, they saw an opportunity to make some money and they took a job. But the problem of it is that they had no passion for fighting. That's once again, that's not them. Sure, if they have disputes that they'll try to settle. I mean, these people are very different than what people think that they are. The Taliban are a different group than the Afghanis. Like the Afghanis, like I said, I've dealt with these people on a personal level, not interpersonal, but personal level. And those people, man, they wouldn't hurt a fly. I'm gonna be honest with you. They wouldn't hurt a fly. And a lot of people might think that that's strange, but if you really met them, you'd be like, yeah, man, them people just want to live in peace, man. And the way that they handle their disputes, they do it on a, what do they call it? They call it a circular something. I forgot. It's where, you have different levels of groups, and the groups talk, and the highest level decides, and if it doesn't meet the high level requirements, then it goes back to the groups to be discussed again. This is the type of small communities that they run. I've been to a few different cities. I've been all over Afghanistan. I've been to the north, to the south. I was at the border of China. I've been at the border of Pakistan. I've been everywhere. I've been to the middle, the south, east, west, of Afghanistan. But so I've met a lot of people, and what I did was military intelligence. So I had to talk to people, and most of them, man, they ain't built for war. So us training them up, and people being like, oh, well, why didn't they fight? Because they not people who really fight like that. Sure, they've had a lot of wars, and they've had a lot of, circumstances where they picked up arms, but majority of the people there, they ain't about that life, man. I'm telling you. Majority of people ain't about that life. That's the reason why they really never had a formal military. So for us to try to install one, man, once again, how many times has that worked in the history of time? How many times has that worked? If it ain't in the people to be that type of person, to be that type of entity, you can only expect them to revert back to what they know best. And unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know how you guys want to look at this, but this is how they want to be. Afghanistan will be forever occupied, man. Whether it be by a faction of their own people or external sources. That's been the reoccurring theme here. And for the U.S. or anybody else to think that all of a sudden, just because we have the power to do something different for them than they're doing for themselves, and this should change them, and therefore, they should fight, man, y'all fooling yourselves. You're fooling yourselves. I mean, really, once again, look at the history of time in regards to what I'm saying. How many times does this work? It doesn't work that often. I'm, like I said, I'm not a history buff, but I can't think of many times. Well, yes, like for instance, when the British invaded India, there are remnants of their occupation there, and even in their language, even in some of their customs, there's remnants of there. But them as a people, man, they still Indian. They still believe in what they believe. They have a strong culture, and this goes the same for Afghans. Even the British tried to invade Afghanistan, and we don't even see no remnants of them. I mean, we see the last remnants that we see of an invasion in Afghanistan, to my knowledge, is the Russians. Because you can still find a lot of the mines and some of the tanks and the vehicles that they use there. And also the Russians, they used to take over cities and sack the town. So like a lot of the Afghan population has some part of Russian in them. So you can see the remnants of that. But as far as them as a people really changing, that's not really going to happen, man. In my opinion, for them to just pick up arms and fight against the invasion of these people, because that's what I call it, an invasion, because the majority of Afghans don't represent the Taliban. They don't. And the U.S. knows that. That's the reason why we tried to install a form of government, because they know that they're not those people. So I don't, I would tell people not to get their hopes up, not to expect anything different. This is just the way it's going to be. I have my other theories about, or my other hypotheses about, different stuff. I'm not going to put that on here, because YouTube's real finicky about you talking about anything that regards 9/11 or the Middle East and stuff like that, the Saudis, and I'm not here to get into the politics of it. I don't care about it, but I'm just saying, like, I've met these people before, like, and some of them became very good acquaintances of mine, and for anyone to expect them to be this hardened people now, even though that they're being trained, once again, they were just doing a job that was paying them. It's almost like you working at a paint mixing shop. Like, this is not going to become your passion, bro. Unless that's your passion. But 99% of people plus ain't gonna be passionate about paint mixing. It's just a job. It's paying you, and that's kind of how they looked at becoming warriors and soldiers. They was just like, well, it's paying me, but they had no passion in it. They don't have any passion in being warriors, despite what you see. And people can say, oh well, I got this history, I got that history, I read this book or whatever. Man, I was there. I've met the people. I met a lot of the people. I can't say that I met a huge population, but I met a bunch of people from different parts of the country. Most of those people want to live in peace, man. They're not. Yes, they have guns and stuff like that, but that's part of their religion. That's part of their, well, not religion, but that's part of their belief system. For them to bear arms. And that's just what they do. It's no different than us with our Second Amendment. It's just their thing. I wouldn't even take that. I would take that with a grain of salt, because a lot of the weapons that we came across did not function. They did not function, and they were AK-47s. How do you do that? But anyways, yeah, it's it's crazy, and like I said, I think we fooled even the Afghan people, because we've been there 20 years. So that's enough time for someone to be a complete infant and grow into an adult and know nothing different. And I think that's what the larger population of people who are trying to get out of there are. They're probably around that age range, and of course, there are probably some people who really want a difference in their country, who are trying to flee from their country as well. But the elders and stuff like that, they know what it is. They've been alive for 80 years. You know what I'm saying? They've been alive for 60 years plus, you know what I'm saying? So they know what it is. I don't think a lot of them are trying to get on those planes, to be honest with you. I think it's the younger people who experience the different lifestyle, who are not under the rule of Sharia law, who are trying to get away from that because they don't want to go to something that they probably have never experienced their entire lives. As soon as we got on scene, like the first 2-3 years, Sharia law was gone from the majority of Afghanistan. Like, people were able to practice their forms, of course, definitely, but there was no brutalization of the people and stuff like that. The U.S., we heard about any of that stuff, to my knowledge, and don't quote me, but I've heard about missions where we would go into different places and we would stomp that shit out, because that is a cornerstone representation of what the Taliban represents. While we were not telling people what type of religion that they could practice, but when it came to the brutalization of innocent people, yeah, we stood against that, definitely. Even when our own people did it, you see those people, they went to jail quick, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we didn't allow stuff like that. But as far as them as a people, man, I totally wish them the best, definitely, in whatever they want to do. I think the people who want to leave should be able to leave. It's unfortunate that we could not facilitate that. And on top of that, where the hell would they go? Because it's a country of people. You got to think about the population. For 20 years, what has been the introduction of the introduction of birth been? What has, I haven't looked at the numbers or nothing like that. I'm pretty sure that it may have decreased or increased, I don't know, but nonetheless, there were babies born in the time of the occupation, and the parents who had those children raised their children under the different type of environment that they were experienced, and those people and their children probably want out, because those children are going to be forced to adapt, and if they don't adapt, who knows what may happen, and those parents could pay penalties behind that, because there's no telling with those guys, right? And nobody want no smoke, so because that's who they are. They don't want no smoke. So I don't know. I don't want to make this video super long. I just thought it was an interesting topic to talk about from my own perspective, because this is my personal account of dealing with the Afghan people. I've never seen anyone in boxing from Afghan. That should tell you a lot, because the heart of boxing is to fight, right? They aren't people who like to fight, man. So anyway, like, comment, and share. Check me out on Patreon. Check me out on Facebook. But until next time, this has been the Wolf and Beta Close. May you have a good day, and peace be with you.